I think with crypto, the tactics are constantly changing, and it's really important to really think with first member of the article coming out saying that they purchased pizza with Bitcoin, and I was following around. But I never invested until 2016, 2017, like a full believer of entertainment as a strategy to some extent. One of our most used tools right now is Kaito. Anything I might say or might have recommended on Twitter or X or posted in the past, it could have an expiry date. It might actually be outdated now.
Welcome to Intract's GEMS podcast. GEMS stand for Growth, Engagement, Marketing and Strategy. This is a newly series we started a few weeks back. Today we have none other than CMO of Hype, one of the biggest crypto Web3 marketing agency. We'll start with the introduction of Emily and then followed by a few rapid fire questions, and we also try to wrap up with some details questions. So that's how the structures looks like, and we'll make sure that we get a lot of insights from the Emily, which will be valuable for these Web3 marketers. Let's get started with that. So Emily, as I was just going through your LinkedIn and realized that you had a very humble beginning from account manager doing door-to-door sales to now a CMO of one of the biggest Web3 marketing agency. So I would love to hear your introduction and how was your journey?
Yeah, it's been a long path here. So in uni or college, that's where I first learned about Bitcoin. Back then, the price was about $900. I remember the article coming out saying that they purchased pizza with Bitcoin, and I was following around. But I never invested until 2016, 2017, when it was about 3 to 4K. So back then I wasn't doing anything related to marketing for crypto whatsoever. But on the side, I was building up my knowledge about dropshipping. And right after college, I got into a dropshipping store. So I was building a Shopify store back in the day. I did do door-to-door sales, so that taught me a lot about in-person conversion, because you do need to, it's a numbers game. So you need to knock on 50 doors, about 10 will open, 1 will be a decision maker, or maybe 5 will be a decision maker and 1 will convert. So it's purely high frequency and impressions, which is very similar to digital marketing. After my dropshipping store, I quickly learned okay, I need to know SEO, email marketing, how to build a landing page, how to source products, how to position, paid ads. And I, from that journey, ended up at my first agency. So Hype now is maybe the third full-time agency I've been at. I've consulted at other agencies, I've consulted in-house. Most of my career was built around direct response marketing. I've done anything from fintech apps, software, business software, a lot of consumer goods, so supplements, clothing, jewelry. So it's been really fun. And I joined Hype about 3 years ago. And in those 3 years, I managed the team, and we've seen about 148 clients in my time here. So it's been a really fast compounding of knowledge and learning. As you know, crypto narratives and metas constantly are changing. So it's a massive departure from my agency or Web2 background, where there's a set playbook, there is a set go-to-market strategy or distribution channels that you should always drill into. I think with crypto, the tactics are constantly changing, and it's really important to really think with first principles with every client or project, and think through what is really best based on their goals, positioning, and who you're targeting.
Right. Yeah, totally agree with that. And thanks for the wonderful introduction. And even you have spent a lot of decent amount in paid marketing as well, right? So do you get experience to leverage those experiences, paid marketing experience in Web3 somewhere?
Back in 2021 and 2022, so my first 1 to 2 years at Hype, I actually joined as the head of paid marketing, and that department is now sunset. I think that's a perfect signal that distribution channels constantly change. So we have done paid marketing in crypto before. My sentiment on it has changed a lot. Specifically chose crypto native publishers and publications. And it's not something we're actively doing today. So the answer is no, we're not running any paid ads. The last paid ads we have ran was for a centralized exchange. There's a few categories where I think it could make sense. So if you have a consumer app that already has a measurable CAC and LTV. I think it's quite difficult in crypto to get there, but usually DEXs, centralized exchanges, certain apps will have that. Or if you're doing something in e-commerce, so that could be like a hardware wallet. And I think the last pillar would also be gaming, which I guess is coinciding with apps as well.
So Emily, I seen that you travel a lot. I guess you love traveling, right? And just wanted to know which is your favorite destination or which is your favorite country.
Yeah, I traveled a lot, and I'm really tired actually, because the last 3 years was nonstop travel. I touched nearly every continent. I really don't have a favorite. I think every country and place is special. There's always pros and cons.
Agree.
And it depends on the season as well. So this year, I'm mainly spending my time in Europe. I'm enjoying the work-life balance.
Okay.
Last year, I spent a lot of time in Asia and Latin America. But yeah, it's so difficult to share a favorite.
Right. Totally agree on that. Every city and country has a very different culture. So totally relate to that. Moving on to next question. So as we see, a lot of a really good meme or intern account out there, the crypto ecosystem. So which one is your favorite? Or maybe if you can probably, there is a one or two accounts which you like the most.
To be honest, most of my feed is actually thought leadership and personal brands or people in the space versus the actual intern accounts or meme accounts themselves. Outside of crypto though, I really like just general internet memes about fashion, memes about culture, memes about animals. I think it's my way of not going all in on crypto all the time. But yeah, it's hard to call out one specific crypto intern account. I also, personally, I think the intern meta is dying a bit. Simply just coming up with blank company intern account as a Twitter or X tactic. I think it's been so overused that it's not something that will be as effective as if you're one of the first few accounts that did it. But I am like a full believer of entertainment as a strategy to some extent. So you often will see certain projects or brands entertaining their followers or adding some memes or humor into their posts.
Okay, interesting. Totally relate to that. So let's quickly move on to next question. There is a lot of Web3, growth marketer, or maybe you can say marketer, who put out a really good and insightful content on a daily basis. So which marketers do you find really exciting or very, insightful?
Yeah, there's so many that I really admire. And I think there's also people that they aren't specifically putting out marketing content, but just seeing the way they work on Twitter or on X or on social is something that we should all recognize and also train the pattern recognition in itself. There's a few founder-led marketers or founder-led comms and marketers that come to mind. I think Winnie from Chip, she does an amazing job building in public. David from Joke Race, he's so authentic on social. He also has really real takes, and I think that makes him very likable and easy to connect with. Mert is also someone that comes to mind for founder-led comms. One of my friends, Reika, she has she's really good at making people care about whatever she's talking about. So yeah, I think there's a lot of people that put out good content. One person I'll actually call out too, he's fairly unknown, I think, on Twitter, but Ekram, he's the CMO of Celestia. He has an incredible workshop and presentation on positioning in the context of crypto and Web3.
Okay.
He's not someone that posts like the full game, but he does have the game out there. And another, I think the last person I'll call out is Claire from Aztec. If you look at her background, her and Ekram also came from Silicon Valley, the tech world. So I really appreciate people like that who have like mature marketing experience. They're bringing over Web2 playbooks, and they're constantly day in, day out in crypto and understanding the landscape here and applying those playbooks and frameworks where they can.
Interesting. Even in our last shows, we had Justin Bogle, and he also names a couple of really good marketers. And even I follow a lot of them who you named, so totally can relate to that. So yeah, let's move to next question. If you leave this token 2049 Singapore, you have been to a couple of events in the last maybe few years. So I would probably, I would like to ask you, according to you, which was the best or uh, best events according to you so far, which you experienced?
To be honest, I haven't been to a lot. I've been to ETH Berlin, ECC. I went to ETH Denver.
Right,
DevCon is coming up.
right.
And what I will say is it's such a huge difference from my very first Bitcoin meetup. I think my first Bitcoin meetup was 2015 or 2016. And
Oh
it
my
was at a pub. And I was the only woman sitting at a table. Nowadays, there's almost like an oversaturation of side events. It's hard for me to say what is best. What I will say is because there's so many side events and people to meet and protocols to meet, I think it's very much choose your own adventure, and it's important to go in with intentionality. It almost seems like our industry or this space has such a high frequency of events globally throughout the calendar year. So I don't know if I have a best, but at least go in with a plan.
And how many people were there in the first event? You named that Bitcoin event.
Yeah, there was probably about 20 of us.
Oh
We were
my
just
God.
sitting at a table outside. It was back then when Monero was a big thing, so there was a few people coming from the private sea, all coming inside. Yeah, it was very niche.
We have come a long way, right? From 20 people to like a 50,000 people a day in conferences. So definitely it's been a like we have come a long way. In our daily basis, in probably in Web3 growth, we use a lot of tools or maybe platforms. So according to you, if you probably according to you, what are the few best marketing or growth tools?
Okay, yeah, so last year, both I and Robin, our VP of Growth, we are constantly demoing tools. And something I quickly learned is Web2 or non-crypto, Marcom tools and Martech or marketing tech. It's constantly pivoting and changing. I would say one of our most used tools right now is Kaito. We use it for research, for sentiment analysis, for mindshare. That's probably the most used tool at our agency. It could change anytime because there's new tools popping up. We've probably touched most or every questing tool available as well. It's difficult for me to say what is the best because I don't think growth tools, even in Web2, it's a one-size-fits-all, meaning it's going to be very bespoke and personalized to whatever the client is.
Right.
For analytics, we switch between Cookie 3 or Safari. So it really depends. We also like to give our clients optionality as well. So we'll usually connect clients with different vendors and see what their best fit is or what they prefer.
Oh, nice. Really, I mean, even we had used Keto for a month and it's really, a good tool. It has provided us a lot of insights and data. So totally can agree with that. And you won't believe, but when we asked this question to Justin, he also named Keto. So there is something must be, a very solid team behind Keto. So let's move to next question. So do you have any very interesting or peculiar story of any of the client which you would like to share with marketeers?
Yeah, I'll do a recent one. And maybe before I do that, I'd like to also zoom out a bit because I think it's so interesting to recognize the different marketing metas and cycles. So for example, my first year at Hype, there was so much ecosystem marketing. And that's when we realized, all right, we need to focus on DevRel or developer marketing. And then last year, it was a lot of infra projects. And earlier this year, especially Q1, there was a lot of TGEs, airdrop, points farming. I think one of my recent favorites is about 3 months ago, we noticed that Telegram mini apps were taking off and being used as an acquisition channel. So we ended up building a bespoke Telegram mini app for one of our clients, essentially as a funnel for getting both crypto users and non-crypto users via a game. And there's a viral growth loop inside of it. And it's been really fun to both grow that. And it's interesting to see how people funnel in from the socials and also from the app and also from the referral. So that app is fully live now. It's been live for about 6 weeks. And we can see the data both from retention and DAUs and also how many people are referring new people. And I just get really excited when I see number go up from a growth standpoint. So I think that has been a really fun one.
Oh, interesting. I mean, it has become a one of the acquisition channel for all the Web3 projects because you see a lot of these projects are launching their own mini apps. Even we tried that and getting a really good response on that. And even I remember that you posted one of the posts that you got thousands of users within launching few hours, right? So definitely, I mean, we all are looking forward to it. So you have been with Hype for almost 3 years, and I'm sure that first, you must have really good hands-on, experience with these Web3 marketing. So, if from your experience, Web3, agency experience, what are the top three silver bullets for marketers? Probably, if you can probably just summarize, these are the three things as a marketer which one should have, or basically one they can learn from your experience.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say that there's so many different types of marketing, and I don't want people to feel like, okay, if you don't have these three things, then you're not fit to be a marketer. And what I mean by that is I came from the data-driven marketing world, meaning that my first two full-time agencies I was at outside of crypto was all direct response, PPC, performance marketing.
Right.
And when I think about it, we think that marketing is heavily related to communications. But a lot of those people, they were deep in Excel sheets, were constantly querying, looking at analytics.
Right.
So I think if I could really distill it down, these days in crypto marketing, there's a lot of creative campaigns just to get mind share and get attention on your project. I think if I distill it down, it would come down to having an experimental mindset. So constantly testing new things, knowing that it's ever changing.
Right.
Openness, so not being set on one thing always working, and the willingness to try something else. And the last thing is probably curiosity. There's so many new narratives or even categories popping up in crypto. So now we have DeSci, DPIN, DID, and I
Right.
think it takes someone who is curious to learn and understand these new projects and categories and products that are popping up in this space
Right.
to really also think through the marketing journey and the marketing funnel.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm sure that this will be helpful for the people who are watching these episodes. It's very common to face bots or symbols in any campaigns you run, be it probably using any of the platform or running airdrop campaigns. You face a lot of these symbols, actor or bad actors exploit and just game the systems. So probably from your marketing experience, what are the some of the ways by which we can avoid these bad actors or symbols?
To be honest, I don't think there is a way to always prevent them. I really think it's a numbers game. So essentially, we could use some of these questing platforms. We know there can be a lot of these farmer or mercenary types, or some of these campaigns that we know attract a lot of these mercenary types with some type of qualifying condition, either at the beginning and or at the end. An example could be a certain amount in the wallet or some type of on-chain reputation. What we've used before and have seen that tends to do really well is also understanding that you might get a massive amount of impressions and people appearing to engage with your posts. And you can have a qualifying condition at the end, something like a form or an email or some type of attestment that this is a real person, them showing some type of interest and intention to join the community. So I think it's all about understanding that you may not be able to prevent it completely, but what is that end user you want to filter down for, and how do you qualify them?
Very interesting. I mean, we are also recently started working on that because this is one of the biggest problem which we are facing, and what we are doing is somewhere you validated us because we recently launched like a POH system where you can add that POH in your quest campaign in the maybe last quest or maybe as a part of that quest, and the people who have at least like a 90% humanity score will only be able to qualify for those quest campaign. So I mean, really agree on that. This is the one of the ways which how we can probably avoid these bots and civil actors. There is a lot of new platforms like probably Polymarket or Pump.fun and Wapcast getting a lot. But as a marketer, we all can learn from this how we can probably leverage the learnings from these platforms and utilize to our Web3 projects.
Yeah, so this is something that I don't think is just related to crypto marketing, but it's something any marketer should be doing in any category. So whenever
Right.
you see like someone getting a lot of mind share or getting a lot of visibility, it's so important to reverse engineer their funnel, not to copy their tactics, but at least to make note of what is working and what's not working,
Right.
and also possibly think of net new ideas that you could be using for your own company. I think it's really interesting to see, for example, Polymarket is an app, Warpcaster or Farcaster is an app as well, or Particle, and Warpcaster is the client on top. It's interesting to see what the call to action is and the different points in their funnel where they're activating users. Yeah, I think it's just building up your bank of what is working, what is not working, and using that to create new ideas.
Interesting. I mean, definitely it will be useful for these Web3 marketers who are, listening and watching this podcast. Yeah. So probably let's start with maybe introduction maybe of your Hype. What exactly Hype do, and the people, maybe founders or builder who are watching this podcast, how it will be useful for them.
Yeah, cool. Hype is a crypto native marketing agency. We've been around since 2017. So it first started as a community agency, and since then it's evolved to full service go to market. Yeah, we've been around for quite some time. There's about 90 people on the team right now, fully remote across 30 countries. I would say most clients go to us for a big announcement, a big launch. We've done a lot of TGEs. We've done a lot of ecosystem marketing. And I think if you're a protocol or an ecosystem or a builder that is looking for some marketing help from an agency that has been in the space and understands the space, we would probably be one of the top selections.
Very interesting. I mean, even whenever I search on Google or maybe whenever I see a blog of top agencies, I always see, Hype in one of the two top positions. So really good job with that, and you guys have done it really well. I mean, it's really huge that in an agency there is 90s people, and it matters a lot. So keep doing the good job. And so Emily, probably that's the only questions from our side. Do you have any last thing to say to maybe the people who are watching this episode, or maybe any insights for them?
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to add is sometimes I get a lot of questions like, what do you think of questing, or what do you think of points programs? And I think it's really important to note that the playbook for Web3 isn't set in stone. It doesn't exist. And anything I might say or might have recommended on Twitter or X or posted in the past, it could have an expiry date. It might actually be outdated now. I also think interestingly this year, a lot of the marketing tactics are cycling out a lot faster. So it's almost like they have a 3-month shelf life. So yeah, I think it's important to really think through marketing fundamentals and the first principles. And it's almost like a wide field out there to experiment and play.
Right. Definitely agree on that. Emily, thanks a lot for that. It's almost like up 25 minutes, and you have given a lot of valuable insights for our user, or maybe our listeners who are watching this podcast. So thank you for coming on this podcast. I'm sure this will be really helpful for the people who are listening this. So we'd love to have you again sometime in the futures. So people who are listening this, please do like, share, and subscribe, and drop your questions if you have anything to ask from Wimley, and we'll definitely get it answered. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining and listening this podcast.